Hello viewers, I am live on cutaways, that's not clever editing, that's just are well and truly underway, and I believe voting has closed in many parts of the US. I've recently uploaded a video talking about the different time zones in different parts of the world. The main focus was of course the United States of America because it has 9 different time zones, and in the contiguous United States of America there are 4 different time zones: Eastern Time, Central Time, Mountain Time, and Pacific Time. Eastern Time is I think Eastern Time is 5 hours behind UTC, and the Pacific Time is 8 hours behind UTC. UTC is the which was earlier, which is the same as the GMT, is just a different method of measuring the time. And Indian Standard Time is 5.5 hours ahead of UTC. So depending upon where you are, you can understand what the equivalent time is in the US. So if it's say 7 a.m. in India, then it will be you subtract half an hour, that's 6:30, then you subtract 5 more hours, that's 1:30, and then subtract 5 more hours. So then you get to what the time is in New York. So what time is it in New York then? Do the math. I am not going to do the math for you. It's just that. So as we talk now, I just want to, before we get into the declaration of results, and I just want to briefly describe the entire electoral process in the US. So what happens in the US is there are 2 major parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Each of these parties decide who their presidential candidate is going to be. There is a primary process, and they decide who the best candidate is going to be, who is likely to win the presidential elections. These presidential elections are held every 4 years. And the election day in the US is the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Why is this the day? I have made a video talking about that. Please do check it out. So on election day, people cast their votes. But people can also cast their votes before election day through mail-in voting, absentee voting, all of that. Many Americans cannot cast their vote because of the rules in the US, such as if you are behind bars, perhaps. I don't think you can cast your votes. And if you are in some territories of the US, then also you can't cast your votes. But these rules are different in different states, and the US is a country consisting of 50 states, and 50 states have their own rules. So what happens on election day is people go to a voting booth and cast their ballot in favor of either the Democratic candidate or the president or the Republican candidate or a third party candidate. Sometimes they even leave the entire space blank. Sometimes they don't even turn up for voting. So it's just a free country. The citizens are free to decide what they want to do. Once the voting has closed in every part of the country or in different states of the country, then the counting of the votes start depending upon when the voting ended in that particular state. So an eastern state, say New York or Florida, will have a different time of closing of their votes compared to a western state because of the difference in the time zones. That is why I made a video on time travel, because as you travel, time is different. So what happens is, so there are different times when the results are projected. These results are projected by the people in the media. They have experts on their panel who try to look at the trends, look at the lead built up by one candidate, and they get into a rivalry with other media organizations regarding both the accuracy as well as the swiftness with which they can project the winner. So as we speak live on YouTube, I also have the YouTube screen open on my laptop, and I can see that many states already have projected winners, and Donald Trump is leading. So I'll just get to that. But before we go there, so now the voting is done. What now happens is the counting of votes happens. In US, what happens is in many states, the winner take all policy is followed. So say a state like California, which has 54 electoral college votes. What are electoral college votes? I have described in a video called Our Elections, Their Elections. But just to simplify it, depending upon the population of a state, it has more representation to the electoral college. So people are not voting directly for the president, they are voting to elect the electors. They are electing the electors. These electors constitute the electoral college, and whichever candidate gets the majority even if it's a majority by one vote, they tend to carry all the electoral college votes of that particular state. But there is an exception, Nebraska. There is also Maine, which is not strictly winner takes all. You have to win all the different districts. There is, I think, 2 votes are allocated to the candidate who wins the majority of the votes in the state. 2 electoral college votes, I think, in Nebraska, and then there is a district specific election also. So that's a little complicated. We'll not get into that. Once this is done, what happens is when the votes are counted, then the electors of each state. Now again, the Republican Party decides who their electors are going to be. Democratic Party decides who their electors are going to be. That is again a controversial issue, which we are not going to talk about. So once the electors are decided, they meet in the state capital. So California's capital is Sacramento. They meet there, and they decide what the vote of that particular state is. This information is then sent to the United States Congress, which is different from Indian Congress. It's a building which consists of 2 chambers, just like Indian Parliament has 2 chambers, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. United States Congress also has 2 chambers, Senate and the House of Representatives. So the President of the United States Senate, that is the Vice President of the US, ultimately gets all the results from the different states, and the results are certified on January 6th. If there is any controversy, if there is any appeals, any objections, all of this is debated in the United States Congress, and litigation can be filed in the courts of law, and they have been filed. A final decision sometimes is even taken by the Supreme Court, as happened in 2000 when the fight was between George W. Bush and Al Gore. And people have criticized that Supreme Court verdict several times, but George W. Bush ultimately did serve 2 terms as President of the US. So once all of this is done, the elections are certified on 6th January. On 20th January, the new president is sworn in. So when you see a projected winner today or tomorrow, these are projected winners by the media. The certification will take place on 6th January, and ideally, whatever the media projects, the certification is same. But trust in the media is diminishing, and in the previous instance, 4 years back, January 6, 2020 was a day of disturbance, to put it mildly. Now, with all of this out of the way, let's again remind the viewers that there are total 538 electoral college votes in the US, and as it is an even number, it can be divided evenly, 269. If that happens, then the decision goes to the House of Representatives, where each state has 1 vote, and if the majority of states vote in the favor of one particular candidate, then that particular state is going to, if the majority of states vote in favor of one particular candidate, that candidate wins the election. So that's how it is. This is, in a nutshell, the US presidential election, which is quite complicated, I admit it. Now let's look at what the results are, live results that are pouring in. So the magic figure is 270. Whoever crosses 270 becomes the next president of the US. And if they are both tied at 269, then the decision lies with the House of Representatives, where each of the 50 states in the US get 1 vote each. And again, 25-25 is also possible, but that is just too much. So in the race to 270, as things stand now, Donald Trump is on 99 and Kamala Harris is on 27. My prediction has always been that Donald Trump is going to win the presidential elections in 2024. But people like Alan Lichtman, who have correctly predicted the winner of every presidential election since 1984 except 2000, Alan Lichtman has predicted that Kamala Harris is going to win. So it's basically a battle between me and Alan Lichtman, and at this stage I am winning, which is quite exciting. So in Florida, which used to be a battleground state but now has become a reliably Republican state, Donald Trump is the projected winner. So this brings us to something known as battleground states or swing states. In this particular election cycle, some states have been designated as swing states, basically states which people are not able to confidently predict whether they are going to go in the Republican direction or the Democratic direction. So these states are Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. My prediction is whoever wins Pennsylvania becomes the next president. So far, these states have not been declared, although Harris is leading in Pennsylvania. 16% of the vote has been counted and Harris is leading in Pennsylvania, whereas in Georgia, Trump is leading. Georgia, I don't think is a swing state. Georgia was always a Republican state till Joe Biden won it in 2020. Now it is regarded as a swing state, but it was reliably Republican. So winning Georgia, I would think, would be more a good defense by Trump rather than a good offense. Kamala Harris is on defense in the Great Lakes states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. These were reliably Democratic states which started voting for Trump in 2016. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania should be won by the Democratic candidate. That was the trend historically, but it was something that trend was bucked by Trump in 2016. So as things stand now, Trump is on 99 electoral college votes and Harris is on 27. So I'm following the MSNBC live YouTube live stream. We'll go to another channel now. Okay, this channel is not showing anything significant. Okay, that's because I'm not playing it. We'll go live here. So again, my setup is quite rudimentary and I don't even know if you are able to see me or not, but hopefully most of what I said was audible. I really don't see any results. So not much results are being shown here. We'll go to the other streaming site. Okay. This is showing absolutely nothing. So Florida has been called in favor of Trump. Florida is no longer a battleground state. It is considered a safe Republican state. None of the battleground states have been declared so far. Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania are the states that we are looking out for. And my prediction is whoever wins Pennsylvania becomes the next president. But I've been a broken record on this till now. So we are back on the MSNBC website, which YouTube channel. This is by far the best channel so far that I've seen, despite their obvious political biases. Let's see if I can find a Fox News live stream. If I can find that. Okay, so we have a CNN live stream also. Let's see what that is saying. Fairly clean live stream without any information on the screen. So that's really not helping me. I'm not used to clean screens with zero information. Let's see Fox News, if I can find that. Fox News is very good in terms of election coverage because in 2020 they were the first media organization to call Arizona in favor of Joe Biden. So I have always watched the results live ever since I had the opportunity to do so in terms of a good internet connection, but I'm trying to be live myself this time and I hope it is not the previous attempt was abysmal because the sound was not there, so I had to take it down, but hopefully in this live stream the sound is there. So this is the Fox News. Okay, in Fox News Trump is at 105 and Harris is at 72. So I can only see that Harris has won in Illinois so far. Illinois and some states in the Northeast. I believe that's Connecticut, I guess. Massachusetts, okay. Some of the states have been called, which are all in the New England area. And Trump has won in Florida, which is a big win. He has won in Alabama also, I think. He's won in Kentucky, Tennessee. He's won in Indiana. He has been in Oklahoma. Iowa is still not declared, so we'll be watching Iowa also. Okay. So as per the Fox News live stream, Trump is at 105 and Harris is at 72. So far it's in my favor. I have I have said that Trump is going to win. Okay. CNN live stream is really not working. Nope, this is not helping. So we'll go back to MSNBC. I think I have too many live streams open, so I'll just close them. Okay, let's see MSNBC. It's a very good. The best live stream is in MSNBC as of now. Is on the MSNBC YouTube channel, so it's pretty good. Of course, MSNBC has a liberal bias. Nobody is in doubt of that, but it's pretty good. So in the House, the Republicans are leading 51 to 26. So in the American presidential election, it's just not the presidential election that is happening. Simultaneously, other down ballot elections are also happening. Elections to the Senate seats, elections to the House of Representatives, all of that is also happening. So Trump is leading. As per MSNBC, Trump is leading in the Electoral College 105 to 27, which is a big lead, 105 to 27. Harris has 27, Trump has 105. They need to get to 270. Whoever gets to 270 becomes the next president. Even in the popular vote, Trump is leading. In terms of the governor's vote, Republicans are ahead 3 to 1. Republicans have won 3 governors. They are certainly ahead in 3 seats. In Senate, Republicans have 4, Democrat has 3, and Independent has 1. So, Republicans leading in the gubernatorial races, Republicans leading in the Senate races, and Republicans also leading in the presidential race till now. Trump is at 105, Harris is on 27. And in the popular vote also, Trump has a 10-point lead in the popular vote. Trump has 16 million votes, 16,335,796 votes, whereas Harris has 13,559,366 votes. So even in the popular vote, Trump is leading, which is amazing. And I have to pat myself on the back at this stage before it gets too late that I did predict a Trump victory. And Harris victory was predicted by somebody who has done this professionally, and he has done this correctly for the last 40 years, and with only one exception, the 2000 election, where he predicted Al Gore would win, but George W. Bush won, and even that he has defended, saying that it was not a very above board electoral process. But here, even the popular vote is in Trump's favor, 53.8%, and Harris has 45% so far. So Trump is ahead by almost 2.7 million votes in the popular vote as well. Popular vote, of course, does not decide who the next president is going to be. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but Trump won the Electoral College. The idea is to get to 270. Whoever gets to 270 becomes the next president of the US. So as things stand now, on the MSNBC website, we are seeing that Trump is at 105 Electoral College votes, and Kamala Harris is at 27. So we'll just take this moment to remind the viewers regarding the entire process in the US. In the US, people vote to decide whoever gets the most number of votes in a particular state usually gets all the Electoral College votes of that particular state. So even if they win by 1 vote, they get all the Electoral College votes of that state. The exceptions to this rule are Maine and Nebraska. Once the electoral college votes are decided, then the electors meet in the state capital. They send the decision to the capital of the United States, which is in Washington, D.C., where there's a joint session of the US Congress presided by the Vice President of the US, where the entire election results are certified on 6th of January. The election is on Tuesday after the first Monday in November, but the certification process is 2 months later in January. Why? Because elections in the US have been happening since the 18th century, which was a pre-industrial era, pre-automobile era, I believe even a pre-railroad era. So people had to travel from one part of the US to another part. And the US is a big country. I think its east-west width is almost 5,000 kilometers. So it did take time to reach from one part of the country to another. So there is a 2 month window between the entire thing to verify the electoral process, to certify it at the state level, and then finally at the federal level in Washington, D.C. And the new president is sworn in on 20th January every 4 years. Now, it may not be the new president, it can be the sitting president also, but in this case, it will definitely be a new president because the sitting president, Joe Biden, did not contest the election. So, the incumbent party is the Democratic Party. Incumbent party is the Democratic Party, and the challenging party is the Republican Party. The Democratic Party candidate for President of the US is Kamala Harris, and the candidate for the Republican Party is Donald Trump, who was the president from 2016 to 2020. Then he lost against Joe Biden, and now so now Harris is at 30 and Trump is at 105 still. Okay. So in the Senate, Republicans are ahead 42, Democrats are at 33. There are still 25 uncalled seats. In the Senate, US Senate has 100 seats. House of Representatives has 435 seats. So 435 plus 100 is 535, and the 3 seats I believe are from the District of Columbia. So that makes it 538. That's the total number of electoral college votes, and one needs to get to 270. Whoever gets to 270 becomes the next president of the US. So in the road to the White House, or road to 270, Harris is at 30, and Trump is currently at 105. In the popular vote, Trump is leading 53.5 to 45.3. Nobody expected this. I did not expect Trump to be leading the popular vote. He is at 17 million, whereas Harris is at 15 million. There's a gap of 2.7 million. Harris is at 30 electoral college votes now, and Trump is at 105. In the governor's race, Republicans have won 3, Democrats have won 2, and 6 races remain uncalled. So in the Senate, Democrats have won 4, Republicans have won 4, Independent has won 1, 25 races remain uncalled. And I believe in the House also the Republicans are leading, but they're not showing the House right now. So Trump is at 105 and Harris is 30. And we'll get back to the live stream again a few moments later. I hope you were able to see me and hear me. And we'll try to be live multiple times today if possible, or at least we'll just sum it up in a subsequent video if the results are declared quite soon. Trump has 18 million popular votes. That's really is amazing. Also, I want to add this. I've been following American media for a long time, and in this particular election, the people who I follow on the American media, whether it is YouTube or traditional media, I know who supports who. But it was quite interesting to see that people who I follow a lot, who I really enjoy watching, some of them support Trump and some of them support Harris, such as John Oliver, who I love dearly. I really like watching his show Last Week Tonight, and I've watched it. I think I've watched every episode of it multiple times since the launch of the show, essentially. And I've always enjoyed it. It has its flaws. No show is perfect, But John Oliver is strongly in favor of Kamala Harris, whereas the other person who I really like watching is Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is in favor of Donald Trump. So even people like Elon Musk are supporting Trump, whereas all the traditional liberal elite intellectuals, they are supporting Harris, which is a big dichotomy. And I really don't understand how very intelligent people on both sides support different candidates. So I don't know. It's a difficult choice, but so far it looks like it's headed in Trump's direction. My prediction is Donald Trump will win. And many smart people have predicted that Kamala Harris is going to win. The smartest of them all is Alan Lichtman. So let's see who is proved to be correct, me or Alan Lichtman. So I think I'll get back to this a bit later because not much is happening here. Please check out my video on time travel, which basically indicates how with traveling across different places in the world, time is also different. And I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And check out, do keep checking out my channel. I think I'll keep coming back live once in a while. Thank you for watching this. Take care.